Number 5. Texas model kidnaps daughter for 6 whole years. Texas model kidnaps daughter 6 whole years. Penelope Inks was missing. She was only 10 years old in October of 2014 when her mother Heather Inks took her and vanished from their home in Texas City soon after her husband Kevin won sole custody of Penelope following a bitter divorce in 2008 after Heather took off with a little girl. The pursued a hunt for her, warning she was suicidal and possibly armed and dangerous since she owned a handgun. Heather was dubbed as the nude model kidnapper after naked modeling photos of her emerged online after she became a fugitive, apparently Heather had dreamed of one day posing for Playboy magazine for 6 whole years. Kevin Inks continued to search for his daughter, suing a 10-minute video at the start of the case pleading for his daughter's safe return, but it wasn't until April 4th of 2020 when the Madisonville Police Department in Texas received a call from a woman staying at the Days Inn Suites motel in town. It was 1 a.m., and this woman said she feared for her safety, saying her ex-husband was plotting to poison her. She told authorities her name was Rose Lovain. Officers arrived at the motel and found a woman. They were suspicious of her identity, impressed her further, and that's when they realized they had Heather Inks. After a quick search of the motel, they found Penelope in another room. The young girl was now 16 years old. She was emaciated and weighed only around 74 pounds. Penelope was then immediately taken to a hospital for both mental and PHYSICALEVLUATIO and SAFTR. Heather's arrest and Penelope's recovery. Kevin expressed gratitude, told the investigators and people who helped find his daughter, also asking for some privacy that so they can start with the healing process and eventually be reunited together as father and daughter. Heather is currently being held at Galveston County Jail on a $30,000 bond. A federal hold, however, prevents her from bonding out. Number 4. Haley Anderson. Haley Anderson. It was March 2018 when 22-year-old nursing student Haley Anderson from Binghamton University was found dead in an Oak Street apartment in Broome County, New York. She had been strangled to death. Haley was a fifth-year senior attending the university and was supposed to graduate in May of 2018. For almost a year and a half, she was in an on-and-off relationship with a man named Orlando Tercero, dual citizen of the US in Nicaragua, and a fellow nursing student at THUNIVRSITYHOWVR. Their relationship was very one-sided, friends say. Tercero wanted to have a serious relationship with her, but she didn't feel the same. Wayne Verthulsha still wanted to remain friends with him. At one point, Anderson filed a police report and included details stating she and Tercero previously dated for a short time in September 15, 2017, when Anderson was at a party at Tercero's residence. She began shouting at her because she already started a new relationship with a common friend. Later on, Anderson's tires were discovered to be slashed. Believed it was Tercero who did it, but refused to press charges against him. On March 8, 2018, Anderson was with friends at Binghamton Bar. After they finished, it was around 4:00 a.m. Instead of going home, Anderson headed to Tercero's house. No one knows exactly the reasons why she didn't go home at the apartment. She fell asleep on his bed, and that's when Tercero attacked her, strangled her. There were signs of bruising and ligature strangulation as well from the necklace she was wearing. For the motive, people believe it was because of jealousy at Anderson and moved on from dating him hours. Later on the morning of March 8th, Teixeira was captured on surveillance leaving his apartment, went to JFK Airport and boarded a flight to Nicaragua. Before leaving, he had texted Anderson's sister, and she in turn called 911 police, did a welfare check on his apartment, but no one was there, so they left when Heather still didn't show up to him. That day, her roommates became concerned and used an app to track her phone. They discovered it was inside Teixeira's apartment. They broke through his window. That's where they found their friend's dead body inside his bedroom. March 11th, Teixeira was officially named as a suspect. It also stated he had fled to Nicaragua a few days later. Nicaraguan police arrested him at Hospital Leon, where he was admitted following a suicide attempt after killing Anderson, was then charged with homicide in September of 2019 in a Nicaraguan court. Eventually, Teixeira was sentenced to serve 30 years in prison for his criminal appeal to have his sentence reduced. It was rejected by the court in Broome County, New York. He still faces a second-degree murder charge, although extradition is complicated and possibly unlikely since the U.S. doesn't have an extradition agreement with Nicaragua. Number 3. Wisconsin slangs. Wisconsin slangs. On March 31st, 2020, a man jogging around the University of Wisconsin came across two bodies in a ditch. Robin Carr, who was 57 years old, and 52-year-old Dr. Beth Potter, were found brutally shot and left for dead. Carr was pronounced dead on the scene, while Potter was brought to the hospital but died shortly after. Judging from the execution-style deaths, the COUPLESUFFEREDPULIC believe the killings were done by someone close to the victim several days later. Authorities announced that they arrested their first suspect, 18-year-old Carrie Sanford. Apparently, Sanford went to the same high school as the three Potter Carr children. He is also said to be dating the victim's teenage daughter, Miriam Potter Carr. Even more, he was actually living in the same house as the victims week before the murders happened. Since their daughter and Sanford weren't following social distancing rules related to the COVID-19 situation, both Potter and Carr decided to arrange for their daughter and son to live in an airband instead. Apparently, Beth Potter had a pre-existing health condition which put her at risk if she got the virus. Believe Sanford and an accomplice decided to rob the couple and plotted to kill them. An unnamed friend of Sanford said the suspect and his girlfriend Miriam Carr were talking about how they could get money from the victims. He also heard Miriam mention that her parents, Eric, the unknown friend, added that Sanford admitted to him about shooting victims and he was worried because Potter had initially survived. And Miriam Carr was questioned by police. She claimed Sanford was with her at the Airbnb the night of the murders, but a phone search contradicted her claim. Prosecutors haven't commented whether she is involved in plotting the death of her parents or not, though another suspect, 18-year-old Elijah LaRue, was arrested a day after Sanford's arrest. He also went to the same middle school as Sanford and the victim's three children. It's believed the two men were responsible for the deaths of Potter and Carr. Both were taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Friends and family lament the loss of Beth Potter, and her husband Potter is known for being generous on Somayoni, who was a warm and WNDRFULWIMENTRIBUTES by friends and family were Alsajavan too. Her husband Robinwell is an independent EDUCATIONCONSULTA and THE also once served as Director of Operations for Regent Soccer Club and once an adjunct professor at Viterbo University. Until 2010, the investigation regarding the couple's death still continues. Number 12. Tom DeLonge's UFO videos. Similar to Tom DeLonge's UFO videos, most 90s kids will remember Tom DeLonge for Blink 182, but these days many know him as the UFO Guide. DeLonge is co-founder of To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, and while the name sounds like a formal education school company, is actually one of the leading paranormal researchorganizations in the world. Taught their main purpose to study and educate the public about UFOs and develop new technology based on what they find over the last few years. The same company has been at the forefront in releasing video footage proof of UFOs and finally getting us government to admit unidentified aerial phenomena happening within United States airspace. As of today, there have been a total of 3 short videos released by the company. These videos seem to capture unknown flying objects using infrared cameras from fighter jets. 12 of the videos even have voice audio capturing seasoned fighter pilots completely in awe of how the unknown objects are removing. For some time, the Navy remained mum, but more recently officially declassified the videos, admitting that it is real and taken by their fighter pilots during training. Navy has also even released formaldehyde of its pilots, so they can report whenever they see something they believe could be a UFO. These videos were first released in December of 2017 and March 2018, but the actual videos were taken around 2000. For even the pilots who spotted these sea objects have come out and spoken about their experiences publicly. As Navy pilot David Fravor described the object as rapidly accelerating to the south, where it disappeared in less than 2 seconds. For a long time, the government has never made a comment regarding UFOs until more recently. A piece by the New York Times uncovered the government did launch a program between 2007 and 2012 studying these unique aerial encounters. According to the former head of the unclassified program, Luis Elizondo, he thinks there's evidence that we may not be alone. Elizondo resigned from the program in protest to the fact that it's been kept a secret from the public and over the internal opposition and funding. I've later worked with Tom DeLonge to create the To the Stars company. As mentioned, the Navy has OFFICILLYDZLASSIFID. The videos that To the Stars Academy initially released its snippets of how they never called them blatantly UFOs, preferring to saying known aerial phenomena. Instead, it still serves as somewhat validation that there are things in our skies that even the government don't know about. Just this past month, DeLonge released a video that he filmed outside of his home that appears to show UFOs in the sky. As we fight this pandemic, UFO enthusiasts are saying there have been more sightings. Record whether aliens exist, have something to do with what's happening, or are just curious about us. Maybe it's just a matter of time before we get to real answers. Number 20. Nova Scotia grappled with one of its deadliest mass shootings to date. Dentra McGreggor Wortman, who is 51 years old, went on a rampage and killed 22 people while injuring 3 others in what was described as 13 hours of terror for the residents of the small town of Fort Tapiac, Nova Scotia, and other nearby towns. On April 18th, Wortman and his girlfriend attended a party, but left around 9 after. They started arguing. The argument escalated into a full-blown fight as Wortman then attacked his girlfriend, tried to tie her down, but she managed to escape and fled into in the area called Police, reporting gunshots, as well as they found 13 people dead and a total of 8 homes around Orchard Beach Drivy as well as Port-a-Peak Beach Road. 3 of the homes have been set on fire. Several people had died trying to escape burning buildings while assisting the other Victims initially police couldn't find Wortman and had no idea who he was. It wasn't until one of the victims who survived it told police the shooter looked like he was driving a police vehicle. Shortly after that, police identified Gabriel Wortman as a suspect overnight. The police actively traced Wortman's location. It turns out after killing people and poured a peak, he drove east and headed to the Debart area. Following morning, he drove north on Highway 4 and headed to a house in Wentworth, near the residents of the home, and killed them, including a neighbor Huatri to help stayed at the house for some time for lighting it on fire, which resulted in an explosion. Around the same time, police found Wortman's girlfriend, who was hiding in the woods. She confirmed Wortman was the shooter and told them he was impersonating an officer. She also provided a photo of the replica police car he was driving. Then the RCMP proclaimed an active shooter situation in the nearby Reese. Wortman continued in his rampaging, killing people he passed by on side of the road. Also performed to traffic stopped, sprinting to be an officer, and killed the occupants of those vehicles. Then shot at an RCMP officer cruiser, injuring the officer inside while driving further south. Wortman collided with Officer Heidi Stevenson. Were recognized Wortman. He managed to kill her before taking her bullets and sedating. He then set two cars on fire. Also killed another driver who stopped to help Stevenson. Wortman took the other victims' silver Chevy Tracker SUV, then took off. Next, he had to donate their home nearby a woman he had known and killed her. He changed his clothes and took the victim's Mazda 3. Filling up on gas, this officer recognized him and shot him. His death was confirmed by police at around 11:40 a.m. After 13 hours of hunting and killing people at random, authorities confirmed many of Wortman's victims were initially people he was acquainted with at some point in his life, but as the shootings progressed, he simply didn't care and began killing random strangers. Wortman had a history of trouble with the law before, had pleaded guilty to assault in 2002 and was ordered to join anger manegentcounSCLI. Was known to collect police memorabilia as well as owning to refurbished police cruisers. His neighbor said he was obsessed with his girlfriend and he had alcohol issues. While he was considered a millionaire by some people, his denture business suffered a hit as Nova Scotia closed all non-essential services because of the pandemic, possibly adding to the mental stress he was already going through. Today, police are still looking into Wortman's past and wondering if there is a possibility may have had an accomplice as a result of the attacks. Prime Minister Trudeau has Canada similar to what Wortman had used to kill his many victims. So there were the strange and scary mysteries of the month from May of 2020. Every day we encounter strange and baffling stories that most of us don't know what to make of. These are just a handful, but there's still so many more too.